Welcome to Karkom Cards and Comics. We're back again with another Duel. I'm Hers.
Big Josh, what it do?
Gotta get that out of the way, huh?
Always.
But today we're gonna fight it out again. This time we each brought some sort of magic wielding being. And I know not who you bring. You know not who I bring. We just check with a third party to make sure it's not the same person or entity or whatever. And then we just gotta try to make an argument of why our character would win over the other.
Yeah.
So this week we're just using magic wielders and sorcerers, wizards, witches. All things are up in the air and available to be used in this fight. I've been using overpowered people lately, so I really just tried to limit mine to someone that's basically human, can be killed by human means, but has only magic as their power set, so
Okay.
so immortal beings like Dormammu or whatever, I was like, I'm just gonna try to stay away from them.
Dormammu is not on my list.
Okay. I mean, I still made quite a vast list of all different kinds of magic wielders before I really narrowed it down to just the one that I used.
Okay.
But you want to do predictions first, or?
Yeah, so, I got a pretty decent sized list here. Like always, most of my guesses for you are always, mostly Marvel. Although you've been having some wrenches thrown in there lately by going off Marvel, it's bizarre. It's different. But I guess you got to keep me on my toes.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, you've guessed the character I've brought more times than...
Like 5, but who's counting?
Yeah, but, I gotta kind of get away from that,
Whereas I
gotta pitch overhand. I've just been, tossing them to you.
Kinda.
So...
And, I would say, I've always tried to go more of an extravagant route, more lesser known. Well, not even lesser known, but less predictable. Just that if I can't win the actual fights, I might as well win the guessing game.
Yeah.
So some obvious picks that I want to throw out there are like Zatanna, Scarlet Witch, because you did the Amalgam character earlier. Was that last season, right? Or was that earlier this season?
I think it was this season, actually.
Okay.
It might have been. I don't remember.
Doctor Strange, Loki, Magic, Wiccan, Baron Mordo, Adam Warlock, Clea. I wrote her name twice down because didn't realize I wrote it the first time, so I had to write it a second.
Okay.
But ultimately, my pick is Constantine.
Okay.
Although you brought it up earlier before we started filming, so I kind of was like, well, that's probably not going to be his pick because he just threw it out there. So
Yeah. And it's not. It's I did consider him because after all, he can be easily enough killed. And I don't just really see him that much as a sorcerer as I do, he utilizes magical items and stuff as part of his fighting of demons, but so he falls into that realm, but I felt for that purpose he was a little out of the category for me.
okay.
So I did say some of those same ones, like Loki, Magic, Baron Mordo, Clea, Adam Warlock. But I said the Enchantress. I thought you might bring an Asgardian.
Okay.
Because they just kind of already have just at base level a set strength.
Yeah.
That makes them hard to deal with. But also thought of Dr. Druid, Doyle Dormammu's son.
Okay.
Emily Bright. She's also supposed to be this big phenomenon, but she's still a kid.
Yep.
Frank Strange. I don't even remember who that is either now that I wrote it down and didn't choose it. Umar, of course, she's a big one.
Oh, yeah, I saw his movie, Harold and Umar. They go to White Castle.
Yeah, no.
No?
No, not that one. Howard the Duck, though, he's actually, he learned like a bunch of like sorcery and magic within like 3.5 hours.
What can't he do?
And then, yeah, and then Doctor Strange like offered him to like a position to like learn how to be a good sorcerer, and he just wasn't into it, so he turned it down.
I know who you went with.
Mojo.
You went with Ned.
Ned who? Who's Ned?
From the Spider-Man movies. His friend Ned.
No. Ah, okay. I mean, is he even his friend? He doesn't even know who Peter Parker is.
That's true. What a shitty friend.
Yeah. But Mojo from the comics, I guess he's more of a magic wielder than I thought. But originally was made as a Doctor Strange villain, but then the writer ended up working on X-Men comics instead, but still used him. So he became an X-Men villain instead. But there's a character called Hammer Supreme that I thought was just really cool. He's like during the Warp World like battles and like it's a Secret Wars type comic where Iron Hammer, which is Iron Man and Thor in the one character, and there's a like Steve Rogers Doctor Strange character, and both of those merge into one. So it's like literally he's the Sorcerer Supreme that has an Iron Man suit, the powers of Thor, and like the all of the skills of Steve Rogers, you know, and Stephen Strange.
Yeah, so we didn't go with him, right? Because
I didn't go with him.
He's kind of broken.
Yeah, that's absolutely broken. But that's who I wanted to use. But he's only been in like 4 comics, so I just thought that was insane, though, that like a character like that exists.
Yeah,
it's just way too much. So, you want me to reveal first, then?
I can reveal first.
All right.
I have my picture ready here. So you didn't really have like a specific guess. You just kind of was going to throw a list out there.
Yeah, I was just throwing a list. If I have to guess one that I didn't say yet, I think you may have brought either Dr. Fate or the Spectre.
See, I had Dr. Fate written down, and I purposely didn't say him because I didn't think you would go with him, but I just wanted to see if you were going to predict that I went with him. Because I think I've brought him up a few times in the past couple weeks. Like,
yeah,
he really is just DC's Doctor Strange, or I guess Doctor Strange is Marvel's Dr. Fate, since Dr. Fate came out first. But no, I went a whole different route.
So not the Spectre either. Okay.
Not the Spectre. I just wanted to have a lot of fun with this fight. So I brought
Orko.
Oh
no.
For those who don't know, he's from the He-Man universe. He's really like comic relief in the cartoons, but he is very powerful.
He is. Okay.
Yeah, I put him up there because he's going to hold his own in any fight. I don't know if you saw this last picture, but that's Dark Orko.
Oh, there's a dark one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Orko has this ability. Well, I'll let you reveal your character before we hop into abilities and stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah, my character has been in 6 movies. He starts off kind of as just a mid-tier and then comes back as like a top-tier
Gandalf.
ultimate god. Yeah. Yeah, Gandalf the White.
Man, I was literally talking to my daughter about this earlier today, and I was like, watch him bring Gandalf.
Really?
Yes.
But you couldn't guess it before I started giving some hints.
Yeah, well, I started writing names down, and then it just totally spaced when I was making my list.
Okay.
So that's
well,
funny.
it was quite a challenge to get to Gandalf. Like, I didn't really know. I was going to choose him until just a little while ago, really.
Okay.
Like maybe a half an hour ago before you got here anyway. You've been here a little bit.
I wasn't even 100% sure that Gandalf has even been in a comic. And I was like, are there Lord of the Rings comics? Like, I had to think about it.
Well, I don't know if we ever made that distinction that it had to be in a comic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember, like, season 1, that was, like, the only stipulation was that they had to have appeared in a comic at some point. But I'm pretty sure there's some type of comic
I don't know
or
if there
graphic
is or
novel
not.
out there. There's got to be, right?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. J.R.R. Tolkien probably did a thing with Marvel or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me see. Lord.
Do I just lose on a technicality?
Nah.
Well, I'll start talking about some powers while you're looking at that here. So, Gandalf was one of the wisest and most knowledgeable beings in all of Middle-earth. And he was believed to be more worthy than Saruman in leading the White Council, although he was less mighty in magic until his resurrection. Gandalf the Grey was revered as one of the most powerful and wisest beings to tread Middle-earth. Although he was wary of confronting Saruman and Sauron directly as Gandalf the Grey, he admitted the latter was still more powerful after his rebirth, but as well as having the influence of the One Ring. So it was considered to be a powerful member of the Fellowship of the Ring, and according to Aragorn, its leader, not in small part thanks to his encyclopedic knowledge, but his vast intelligence allows him to accurately guess the thoughts of others and makes him perhaps a preeminent architect to Sauron's defeat. What'd you find?
So there are Lord of the Rings comics from 79, 80, and 81, although they've never left Europe. So the comics exist.
Oh, but they're still there?
They're there.
In Europe?
They're in Europe. They won't let them leave.
Okay. Gandalf killed a squad of goblins with lightning during the quest to slay Maug, then hurled lightning and fire at the Nazgul when he was attacked at the Weathertop, something noticed for miles around that seared the battlefield. Gandalf describes himself as a servant of the sacred fire and wielder of the flame of Anor. Coincidentally, many of his spells are based on light and fire. He was able to light a wet piece of wood simply by a touch of his staff, which is considered distinctive enough for an onlooker to recognize his handiwork. Gandalf purged the room of the Goblin King with his blue glowing smoke, which scattered piercing white sparks to kill the orcs. At the cost of shattering his own staff, he was able to conjure a sea of white flames that caused the bridge under the feet of Durin's Bane to crumble. He can actually use his staff for illumination, magical kinesis, so he can push objects or people around. He can call the Galahir, if I said that wrong, I'm sorry, but the giant eagles. He has a sort of power that he can charge with lightning. He can call Shadowfax the horse. He does have a counter spell, so against other wizards. Although it's the only time we see it, it's not good enough to actually fully bounce it back. But when Saruman was trying to bring the mountain down, he tries to use it and it just deflects it. So it doesn't fully send it back, but it's still there. It's something. When the Fellowship passes... Oh, that's what that was. Okay, the Lightning Strike, Blinding Light, the Shield of Issatar, which is like when the Balrog's trying to cut him with the sword. He's like in that Magneto-like bubble.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
So he sends off all the people away, and he fights the Balrog 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
Gets all the experience.
Yeah.
And then shows up as Gandalf the White right after.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah. Well, if they would have stayed in the perimeter long enough, it would have been a shared EXP.
Yeah.
But he had to...
He wanted all of that.
Fly, you fools. No, but that's actually when he uses his charged by lightning sword too to actually stab the Balrog and kill it.
I actually just watched a video about that fight in particular not too long ago on YouTube, and they said that it took like, I want to say like a week of them falling and fighting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I believe that's what it was in the original.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He can just start fire with his staff, like he does when he lights the pine cones on fire. He has a destructive blast, which is his most destructive thing that he can do, where he raises his staff in the air and slams it on the ground, which is like he uses a weak version to actually break the bridge and drop the Balrog. But he's also seen doing it when he's surrounded by legions, and they like fly into the air and instantly destroys them. He used it to blast away goblins and stun them long enough for the dwarves to rally themselves in the Hobbit movie as well.
So Gandalf is he's and the way he comes off in the movies is kind of like he has no power almost at all. You know, like they're like, you know, everyone questions whether or not he's even a good wizard all the way through the movie, or all the movies from The Hobbit all the way up to The Fellowship, and you don't really get to see like a lot of the stuff you just explained in the movies. You know, you get to see like, you know, when he hits the staff down, it's a loud, and you see a flash of light, but you're like, okay. So like the movies hint that he's powerful, but they never fully show it.
Even though when he shows up as Gandalf the White the first time, Legolas shoots an arrow, he burns the arrow up before it hits him. He strips Gimli of his axe and he burns the sword from Aragorn's hand.
Right.
That was in the movie.
Yeah, but it's not like a lot of the
he
things. He
was fighting with the staff and the sword.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I wanted to see.
He's powerful in the movies.
Like, let me see a full-on lightning.
You're being
blade.
a jerk.
Hey.
What's the Oracle guy?
He's best known for his fireworks in the Shire. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, because he's a wizard for the people. It's like literally as a gray wizard, their job is to bring up the spirits of people. So I mean, like, what's better than the 4th of July every month?
I don't know. Ask my dog. They hate that holiday.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see any dogs in the Shire.
I don't have a dog either.
Yeah. Well, okay.
All right. So Orko, again, he's from the He-Man universe. He comes from a dimension called Trolla. Not sure how to pronounce it. But for whatever reason, he's in Eternia. He's a great magician, but he can't always cast his spells correctly. So, like, if you've ever watched the cartoons, you always see him messing up his spells. And they explain that it's because the laws in nature and physics are so different in Eternia than they are in his home world, or home dimension. And then a lot of the times in the cartoon, he doesn't have, like, his two main, like, magic items that he uses from his home world, which he has, like, a medallion, which gives him a crap ton of power, but he loses it, like, as soon as he arrives in Eternia. He hits a tree and it falls off and he loses it. And then his wand, which he always misplaces it, or it's always like leaving his hand when he goes to cast spells. Both of those help him like just channel his magic even to another higher level. He can levitate. As far as I know, he has either 2 stubby feet and no legs, or no legs at all. I don't know. No one's ever seen his face either.
I've never looked up his little robe.
Yeah. Apparently, to his people, revealing your face is an intimate thing, like 2 people kissing. So that's why you never see his face. And in the cartoon or in the comics, you've only ever seen it as like a silhouette. You've never actually seen his face. So abilities, he can levitate, obviously. That's all you ever do is see him kind of like hovering around. He can levitate items. He's been shown to lift like very large boulders. Magic absorption. Although if he does absorb enough magic, he becomes a mad god, as they refer it to, or Dark Orko. He can teleport. Let's see. His hat holds like impossible amounts of magic items. So think of like a bag of holding from D&D. Like there's no, or Hermione's bag from Harry Potter if you don't know D&D. And if you don't know either one, I don't know what to tell you. Orko's hat.
Goop has an alternate dimension in his stomach that he can just pull things out of, and I think Deadpool has something too like that.
If you know Goop, but you don't know who the other two I named are, is it Goop or is it Dupe?
Oh, Dupe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
Or the Dupe. Mask.
His pants were like that.
He has a ton of magical items in there. Like basically whatever he needs at his disposal is going to be in that hat. He has all forms of elemental blasts that he can project, arcane blasts. Like I said, his wand and relics and other items make his spells more powerful. When he's Dark Orko in the comics, it took Superman, He-Man, Skeletor, and Constantine to finally stop him. They all had to team up to stop Dark Orko.
Okay.
So, but other than that, it's hard to figure out what he can do other than the things I've named, because they don't really specify his power list. They just say he's a great magician, And
well, I mean that's kind of with Gandalf too. Is he really only has the power to do whatever he needs to in the scene to win the scene?
Yeah.
So it's never really specified to what level his powers are and how much of it's actually been revealed.
Exactly. And the same, who knows how powerful Orko would be in his own dimension as compared to Eternia. We don't know, but...
Right. And, when the Nazgul was attacking in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf was able to use his staff to shoot, a blinding white flame at them, and only, the actual leader of the Nazgul was willing to stick around and fight, with that. So, if he's just able to absorb magical energy, I mean, I think it's going to get to that point where Gandalf is just shooting him with this, and pushes him to that.
Oh, to that point.
Limit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's, can Gandalf defeat him when he's Dark Orko at that point?
Right.
Like I said, Skeletor, who was on his team when this happened, basically was like, "Oh no, you're too powerful," because Skeletor, when he was Dark Orko at first, Skeletor was his minion, because he was far more powerful than Skeletor at that point. But then Skeletor realized that the only way he can get back on top is by teaming with his enemies, which is He-Man, Superman, and Constantine. He-Man especially, to actually bring down Dark Orko and revert him back to plain Jane Orko, I guess.
But how did they end up actually doing it?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't read the comic to see how they did it. I just was reading in the notes that it took all of them to bring him down.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
In a mashup of He-Man, Skeletor, Constantine, and Superman, does Gandalf have a shot?
I still think he does, because Superman's just weak to magic anyway, so I think he's the biggest powerhouse in that.
Yeah. But he's also going to be the biggest. Have the only weakness too.
Yeah.
So, as good with magic.
Skeletor is a big sorcerer too.
Yeah.
I was looking at lists of most powerful sorcerers, and he was in the top 10.
He's always going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. But Orko wasn't, so there's that too.
True. But so when I was looking up, just a random funny fact, when I was looking up Orko, I pictured him in my mind. I couldn't think of his name. Right. I thought I knew the name, I should say. I looked up Gwildor, who's from the movie, who's the inventor of the key.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was his name. I pictured Orko, seen the robe, saw the, floaty, no face, but I could only think of Gwildor. And then when I have my He-Man encyclopedia, so when I opened it up and looked up Gwildor, I was like, that's not him.
Yeah.
So I'm just flipping through page by page. Mind you, it's a, 400-page book, And then I came across not Orko, but his brother or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's him. And I'm like, wait, he only appeared like twice in the comics or in the cartoon and the comic. I'm like, no, that's not right. So I just page by page, and then finally I found Orko, who had a whole 2-page spread, like a whole thing. I was like, oh, that's who I'm looking for.
Yeah, 'cause he's one of the main characters.
Yeah, but fun fact, he was only added for comic relief.
I can believe it.
He wasn't originally in the original toy line. He did make his debut in the cartoon, and then after he was as popular as he was, Mattel gave him a toy in the second toy line run.
Okay.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But, yeah, as far as fight goes,
I mean, with the telekinesis and stuff, I feel like I can push him around. He doesn't seem like he's very stable. Most of the time, like, he's levitating and always, like, kind of just bouncing around as is. He's kind of like he reminds me a lot of Slimer, from Ghostbusters. But,
yeah.
Well,
I think he's gonna Orko would rely heavily, like before he became like Dark Orko or whatever. He would rely heavily on the items in his hat to like
which
get him
Gandalf
through.
will destroy. I mean, he was in a fight with Saruman, and was beaten. But then when he came back to fight Saruman again, he instantly just shattered Saruman's staff.
Yeah.
So if he sees Orko trying to
constantly reaching in for more items.
Yeah, or for a wand or something, like he's going to attack the weapon, I feel. So I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I think the biggest thing is just the absorption. Yeah, that's what I think is the hardest to get around. Because, I mean, yeah, I can set the whole place on fire. I can hit you with lightning. That's not technically magic lightning. It's just I can summon lightning. So that might hurt as well. But I've never seen Orko kill anybody.
Yeah, well, he's a good guy.
Right.
Well, I guess so is Gandalf, but Gandalf will, he'll kill what he needs to kill.
Yeah. Which I have. And a Balrog's more badass than an Orko.
I don't know. Orko's he's... Woo! The Balrogs are awesome. I love the Balrogs.
Yeah. Yeah, just the whole design of it is really cool.
And there's 13 of them, I believe, that like survived into the age of like where the movies and stuff take place. I believe there was like 13 left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I watched some of the dumbest, or I shouldn't say I watched. I listened to some of the dumbest things when I go to bed. For a while, I was on a Lord of the Rings like lore kick.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like watched videos about Radagast or about a lot of characters you don't even see or hear about in the movies, but like they played big parts in the books. And I was like, oh, okay, like just so many different things, and yeah, and you just helped me fall asleep.
Right.
So what are we thinking, man? Because
I mean, I honestly think I can take Orko.
you think?
I think Gandalf's got it with a lightning enchanted sword and a staff. Like
the physical weapons are probably going to be the best bet.
Yeah, because I with magical absorption, and I don't know anything about Dark Orko or what the potential there is.
Yeah, the Mad God Orko.
And I have defensive magic as well, so like I don't know if you're able to absorb a shield bubble that I can put up or not. There's lines there that I'm not sure on.
If it's magic, he can absorb it by proximity. So he's just like siphoning it, when he as a defense mechanism.
Okay.
As well as to cast his own spells, he's constantly siphoning from like the elements around him and stuff. So that is a thing.
Okay. Well, what are you gonna do to hurt me though?
I mean, as far as offensive goes, from everything I saw, he's very limited to like his blast power, his elemental blast, his arcane blast, his teleportation, which can be used creatively if he wanted to, but he also doesn't seem like he's the brightest because, like I say, he's written as a comic relief character, so he's clumsy.
Well, and it doesn't help that just the physics of our world are different than he's used to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, you're not gonna understand your environment if the physics are off.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can try to drop large items on
Rocks.
Randolph. Yeah, let me lift up this like 20-ton boulder. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it happening though.
Yeah, I would. Because
I think I would be able to actually do the blast move to break the rock if it was coming at me, or the flame, the shooting of the white lightning or white flame river thing.
Oh, yeah.
I can do a lot to change the environment of the battlefield with lightning, fire,
Wind,
light,
water, heart.
Yeah. So
I think I have to concede based on the clumsiness and his spells not always going off because he's in Eternia, not in his home world. And I guess the same would probably be happening if the fight took place on Middle Earth. So the only place Orko would probably have an advantage, or at least a fair fight, would probably be if it was in his home dimension.
Okay. And I would believe that too, because he might be a sorcerer supreme, but he's out of his element.
He's out of his element, dude.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, what do you think? I can't agree with you there, but put it in the comment.
Oh, you think Orko would win? I like you.
Yeah. So if you think Orko could have this, if you are the creator of He-Man and you think you're right, let us know.
Fun fact: I have been looking for an Orko Funko Pop now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I haven't found one yet, but I'm looking.
All right. Well, hopefully they make one.
Yeah.
I guess I got nothing else to say. I win again, even though I didn't choose somebody that's technically immortal. I mean,
he is like thousands of years old.
Yeah, well, his body can die, but his spirit is immortal. So like he'll come back. But I was just gonna take like, if you kill him, then you win. Like I'm not because he doesn't even come back with all of his memories and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they can be revealed to him and then he'll remember. But like he's basically like a clean slate. New person every time he dies. But
I just went the fun route again.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, what are you doing?
Right. Well, I thought it was fun to have Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Stephen Strange all in one.
It's true.
But
seems broken.
Yeah, good luck, Orko. All right, but like, comment, subscribe. It's just a small little click.
Tell us if you agree or if you don't with this fight. And next week's fight is Defender of a Realm.
That's the one that you've been prepared and ready for how many weeks? 3?
79. It's more than 69.
Yeah. So, Defender of a Realm, I already know who I'm going to pick too. This one I knew right away, no hesitation. As soon as we wrote down the parameter on the page, I knew who I was going to pick. So I've been ready since week 1 of the season 2.
And I've been ready for 79 weeks.
That's probably about the same time.
Probably.
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by, and see you next time.
Deuces.